Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're tackling something that's probably on a lot of your minds, preparing for the Stott Pilates certification exam.
hmm
And, we want to frame this not just as like another test. It's more an opportunity, really, a chance to deepen your understanding, fuel that professional growth.
Absolutely. Because certification exams, well, they can feel like a pretty big hurdle, can't they?
They really can.
So our goal in this deep dive is to give you a clear path, a structured, effective way through it based on some really great expert advice.
And we've got insights from Caroline Berger de Fémynie, who founded Studio Pilates in Paris. She's got this wealth of experience, not just from her own journey.
Right, but also from creating these incredibly practical study tools for her students over the years, which is, really valuable.
Exactly.
And what's great is that her approach isn't just theoretical. She actually developed these strategies because she needed them herself when she was preparing. She figured out what worked.
That makes sense. Real-world application.
Totally. So our mission today, let's extract the most valuable strategies, those actionable steps from Caroline's experience. We want to help you shift from maybe feeling overwhelmed to feeling, confident, ready for that certification.
Okay, let's get into it then. Caroline's very first recommendation. Well, it might surprise some of you. She really emphasizes taking a break,
Yeah, like a complete 2-week break right after your training finishes.
which seems a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? You'd think you should dive straight into reviewing.
You would think that.
Yeah.
But her reasoning is really insightful. It's about giving your brain the time it needs to integrate all that new information.
Okay, so it's not about forgetting, it's about letting it settle.
Precisely. Letting it become solid knowledge without the immediate pressure of trying to recall it. Think of it like letting the information move into long-term storage. It needs that quiet time.
Right, like sleeping on a problem, your brain kind of processes it in the background. She specifically mentions rest for cognitive processing, which makes sense after intense learning.
Exactly. You need that consolidation period. So after that crucial rest,
Hmm.
then comes the structured review.
Mm-hmm.
And she has 2 complementary tools for this.
Yes, both available on Amazon, which is convenient. The first is this bilingual workbook, English and French. It's called Anatomy and Pilates Review and Exam Preparation, The Body from Head to Toe.
And it's not just a textbook you read passively. It's really structured for active learning.
Sick parts?
Okay, so walk us through that structure.
Sure. It starts with osteology, the skeletal system, the basic
A
architecture.
foundation. Got it.
Then myology, the main muscles, where they attach, what they do.
Okay.
And then part 3 gets really hands-on. It's about movements, but with this cool visual approach. There are these little muscle vignettes.
Like little pictures of muscles.
Exactly, that you actually cut out and place onto the pages showing the corresponding movement. So you're physically building that understanding of muscle chains.
Oh, that's clever. It's like active memory building, not just rote memorization. Kinesthetic learning, right. Learning by doing. Precisely. It makes those connections much stronger. Then it moves into movement analysis.
Which is key for linking the anatomy theory to the actual Pilates exercises.
Right, bridging that gap. After that, there's a full anatomy mock exam, so you get a realistic feel for testing yourself.
Practice run. Good idea.
Then crucially, the final part provides detailed corrections for that mock exam. It helps you see not just what you got wrong, but why. Pinpoints your weak spots.
So it's really a guided learning process. Caroline emphasizes it's interactive, personalized, designed to keep you focused and not, drowning in information.
And she's big on that writing to memorize idea, which this workbook really facilitates. Plus, being bilingual is a nice touch.
Definitely broadens its reach. Okay, so that's tool number 1. What's the second one?
The second is another workbook, Pilates mat work and postural analysis. This one dives into each specific exercise.
Okay. So more granular.
Yeah. For every single exercise, you work through a checklist, basically.
What kind of things are on the list?
Well, you define the pedagogical goal, like what's the main purpose of this exercise?
Okay, makes sense.
Then you analyze the plane and axis of movement.
Yeah.
Where is it moving? Around what point? The specific joint actions.
Mm-hmm.
Any possible modifications, which is important for teaching different bodies.
Absolutely.
And a really key bit, postural analysis, before the movement and after.
So you're really thinking about the effect of the exercise on alignment.
Exactly. Deepens that understanding. Caroline really feels these 2 books together give you everything, the structure, the content, the method. Helps you work clearly and autonomously, focusing on what's essential for Stott Pilates.
And you mentioned she developed these herself during her own prep.
Yeah, that's what's so authentic about them. She needed clarity, landmarks, visualization. And she basically built the tools she wished she'd had.
Wow. So they really come from a place of understanding the learner's journey, concrete, practical tools.
Definitely. Now, moving beyond the books, she also talks about self-observation, using video.
Ah, yes, filming yourself. What does she suggest filming specifically?
She recommends filming yourself, presenting the 5 fundamental Pilates principles, and also doing a complete postural analysis. Keep it under 10 minutes, she says.
Okay. Might feel a bit awkward for some people, maybe.
Oh, probably.
Right.
But she says it's incredibly revealing, a real mirror. You see your posture, how clear your explanations are, your vocabulary.
Spotting strengths and weaknesses yourself.
Exactly. It's honest feedback. And tied to this, she gives some crucial advice for the exam itself.
Which is?
Stick to what you know really well. Simplicity and precision are better than trying something complex you're shaky on. Don't overreach.
Good advice for any performance situation, really. Confidence in the fundamentals.
Absolutely. Now, for reviewing the actual exercises, she emphasizes methodology again.
Right. How does she suggest tackling that? Not just randomly going through them, I assume.
No, definitely not. Her advice is methodical. Focus on one exercise per day, but go deep on that one exercise.
Okay, one a day, but thoroughly. What kind of analysis?
She gives key questions to ask for each exercise in the repertoire, like, what's the main teaching goal here?
Okay.
What's the plane? What's the axis? What joints are moving?
Biomechanics stuff.
Exactly. And then, crucially, which muscles are working and how are they working? Is it concentric, shortening, eccentric, lengthening under control, or isometric, holding steady?
That level of detail, wow.
And finally, what modifications are possible? Thinking about variations.
Okay. Can we look at an example? Maybe the abdominal preparation?
Yeah, she uses that one.
Yeah.
So for ab prep, she'd say, okay, primary movement is in the sagittal plane.
Forward and back.
Right. Around a frontal axis. It's a closed chain exercise, pelvis neutral.
Okay.
Movement starts with that little head nod, the craniovertebral flexion, that uses the longest colli, sternocleidomastoid, working concentrically.
Muscles at the front of the neck?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then trunk flexion, bringing the upper body off the mat, engages your obliques, rectus abdominis, and shoulder flexion as the arms reach toward the hips. Right. Then there's that pause on the inhale. That's an isometric hold for the abs.
Holding the contraction.
And the return journey, lowering down slowly on the exhale. That's eccentric work for those same trunk flexors. Controlled lengthening.
Okay, seeing it broken down like that, it really clarifies things.
It really does.
Yeah.
Doing this for every exercise, that's how you truly assimilate the method. It's not just about passing the test.
No, it's about being able to teach it clearly, precisely, understanding why you're doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Now, separate from the book study and analysis, there are also those practical hours you need to log after training.
Ah, yes, the mandatory hours.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, right?
That's the time frame.
Right.
And Caroline stresses these aren't just, box ticking. They're vital for development.
What do those hours involve?
Well, 3 main things. Regular self-practice, actually doing the Pilates yourself.
Embodying it.
Observing experienced teachers, seeing how they cue, correct, manage a class.
Learning by watching.
And actual teaching yourself.
Right.
Ideally, she says, with some kind of feedback or mentorship.
Okay, so it's about reinforcing the knowledge, developing your eye, and just maturing as a teacher through experience.
Spot on. It solidifies everything in a real-world context.
Now, what if you get stuck during all this prep? If you hit a wall with the concept or just feel overwhelmed?
That's a really important point. Caroline's advice is clear. Don't hesitate to ask for help.
From who? Your instructors.
Yeah, reach out to an instructor trainer, maybe online, maybe in person if you can. She makes the point that sometimes just 1 or 2 sessions.
You make all the difference.
Exactly. It can unlock something you're struggling with or just ease that stress. It's not weakness. It's actually a very responsible professional thing to do.
Recognizing you need support and getting it. Good advice. Okay, so as the exam gets closer, people might naturally feel some fear, some doubt.
Oh, absolutely. She acknowledges that's totally normal. Fear, doubt, suddenly realizing just how much personal investment it takes.
Yeah.
But her message is really strong. Push through it. Complete the exam. Trust your preparation.
She frames it as a major milestone, right? Personally and professionally.
Definitely. Passing is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And that Marathi certification, it really means something in the industry. It's recognized globally.
So it has real-world value, opening doors.
Huge value. It opens doors to good studios.
Yeah.
She mentions demand is growing for instructors with this specific training. She's even seen her students get hired before they officially finish just because they're on that path.
Wow, okay. That's encouraging.
It really is. So
Yeah.
her final word is basically go all the way. See it through, embrace the challenge and the achievement.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's quickly recap the key takeaways from Caroline's approach.
Right. First, that crucial 2-week break post-training. Let your brain consolidate.
Then use structured review tools like those workbooks she created. Active learning.
Film yourself. Use that self-observation to refine your teaching cues and presence.
Adopt that methodical, deep dive approach to analyzing each exercise goal, plane, axis, muscles, modifications.
Don't underestimate the value of those practical hours. Self-practice, observing, teaching, they're essential.
And if you get stuck, reach out. Asking for help is smart.
Absolutely. So with this kind of preparation, the exam shifts, doesn't it? From something scary to an actual opportunity.
Yeah, an opportunity to show what you know, demonstrate your mastery, and really unlock those next steps in your career.
Well put.
Okay, so to wrap up, here's a final thought for you, our listeners. Reflect on which part of your own learning process, maybe in Pilates, maybe somewhere else entirely, could benefit most from being a bit more structured, a bit more self-reflective, maybe even just a touch more courageous, like seeking feedback or filming yourself. Something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.